Welcome to I Scream, You Scream, your weekly scoop of the most chilling histories, mysteries, and true crime. My name's Kathryn.
I'm Gina.
Every month we choose a new topic and a flavor of ice cream to go along with it. And I just realized it is a new month this episode. So we have a brand new flavor of the month. We will be discussing dreams and or possibly nightmares while we enjoy a scoop of dreamsicle ice cream. Orange dreamsicle ice cream. Grab a spoon. Let's dig in.
Can I tell you? Remember how last episode I said I had something shameful to admit?
Oh, God.
I once again have something shameful to admit.
Oh, my God. What?
So
I'm always scared when you do this to me. It could be anything from like I killed a man to like I forgot to take my like Flintstone vitamin.
Oh my gosh. Aw. I love how
Remember
dynamic
those?
your opinion of me is. That's so nice.
It's true. That's like what you hit me with. Phil does the same thing. Like, anyway, please continue.
So
sorry.
You already know about this because I texted you about it at like 10 p.m. last night, but I completely forgot to get ice cream. And orange dreamsicle, not really a flavor over here. So Tom very kindly took me to the big shop today so I could see if I could find some. And I did find like an orange popsicle thing that had vanilla ice cream on the inside.
Oh, nice.
But it had like orange flavoring throughout. So I brought it home. And just right now, when we went downstairs to put ice cream in bowls, I took a closer look at the box.
Oh, God, what is it?
Like, it's like every fruit except for orange.
Stop. Why?
It's mango, pineapple, passion fruit, and peach, I think.
So right off the bat, in Gina's defense, the reason I got a text from her last night saying she forgot her ice cream is because I texted her last night saying, oh God, new flavor tomorrow, don't forget your ice cream, because I had forgotten my ice cream as well. So just so that you don't, we're not shaming Gina because we're not shaming Kathryn, okay?
We're doing our best, and sometimes our best is not what we said we would do.
I almost bought a mango ice cream because I was like rolling through.
Okay.
I was rushed because I was like, I need to get back into like I'm out buying stuff for dinner and I like want to get home, like I'm hungry, I gotta get home and eat it. So I'm just like grabbing stuff off the shelves, and I saw a bucket of orange ice cream, so I just like grabbed it and it was going into the cart, and I was like, wait, shit, that's like there's so many flavors nowadays. We talked about this in episode 1 or whatever, month 1. I need like the basic ass shit. Like there's so much fancy
Where did it all
stuff
go?
Now. Yeah, it's so funny because orange cream is one of my favorite flavors of just anything, and I totally forgot about it because when I had my niece over a couple weeks ago, we got ice cream. That was like what she wanted to get, and she got this. It was like what you just said. It was like mango, passion fruit, pineapple. It just looked like a tub of orange ice cream. Yeah.
I don't feel so alone now. Thank you. I'm not ashamed anymore.
Yeah. No, don't be ashamed.
Okay. Did you wind up getting the one that you sent me a picture of last night? Because I do want to talk about that.
Okay, good. Because I want to talk about it too.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was called, but okay. So the reason I stumbled on the name is technically, I think a dreamsicle is a branded thing. Like that orange cream popsicle is an orange dreamsicle. So we were like, okay, let's be real cute and on the nose this time, and we're doing orange dreamsicle ice cream, which is just orange cream. So I felt so lucky when I was shopping around when I realized, oh wait, I'm not getting mango. I'm looking for orange. I kept shopping around and I found an ice cream called Dream. The name of the ice cream is Dream, like subtitle, sub name, orange cream, and it is Barbie branded. I'm obsessed. I just love it so much. So I don't remember the name. It's a specific brand, but I can post it somewhere. Anyway,
that's the one that you're eating now, though, right?
That's what I'm eating.
Is it good?
And
is it as good as I'm imagining it is?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yes. But that's the thing. Like, this is orange cream is one. It could be shitty and I would still enjoy it. I just love this flavor so much.
That sounds nice.
Can you hear Cinnamon freaking out?
No.
Okay, good. She's trying to get into the closet. Her demons are calling for her. She's obsessed with the scary closet in our bedroom. Yeah.
Do you ever go in there to like check it out?
No. In fact, to the point where I feel kind of bad because it's a usable closet, but I literally don't keep anything in there because I'm afraid to go in there. Like, my laundry basket sits outside the closet door. Phil, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. I am aware that it's an issue. But I don't like going in there because that's the one, there's like a little cutout door that's like a crawl space. And it's not a doorway, there is a door covering it, but it's like a piece of plywood with a fake handle on it. So it doesn't latch. Like, if I open the closet door, the crawl space door opens, and I'm always so afraid that someone's going to be looking at me.
Yeah, that's
what I'm talking about. That's the spot that I'm like, that's probably where the Frogger is. But if there was someone in there, Cinnamon would not want to be in there.
Good point.
Yeah, she doesn't like people. I don't know about demons, though. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past her to like hate people, love demons.
I know.
Takes after her mom.
No comment. Well, it's how I found her a father, so don't judge me. Anywho, so we're here to talk about dreams.
Yeah, oh, real quick before we do, we're announcing something very exciting on social media today.
Oh my God, yes. This is what I'm talking about. Schedules, what are they? I don't know. So if you've tuned into the last couple of episodes, you know that we have a giveaway going on. And if you're listening to this on Tuesday, the day it releases, you will find out today. And if you're listening after, you will have already found out. So if you're listening to this first thing, go on over to probably Instagram or Facebook. I'm not going to remember or have the energy to post it to any other socials. So go to Instagram or Facebook, and we will have announced the winner of our the winner of our winter solstice survival box.
Hooray! Congratulations, whoever you are.
Yeah, we don't know who you are yet. This is in the before time. So
yeah.
We also, again, like, if you have an identifiable name or if you sent us a screenshot, then we will also reach out to you. So don't worry if you're listening to this after the fact. But yeah, so that'll be announced later today. I'm very excited. I love this box. Like, I wish that we could just keep it.
I kind of want one for myself. Like, I'm thinking about it being my Christmas present to me.
Yeah. I mean, we could just do that. Yeah, we can just, like, make our own boxes, too. But not even make a box, literally just... But I want to have won this box.
I know. That's the thing. Like, I feel like if I just make it for myself, I would want Tom to hide it from me and then... Yeah, I don't know. That's like, tell me I won something, and then
because these are all things that I literally own or could very easily own, but like I didn't win them.
Have you ever like won like a thing? I don't know how to ask that question.
I know what you're asking, but I was like, how's this gonna go?
You know what I mean?
There are two things I'm putting in air quotes. I won. The only two things I've won that I can remember from when I was younger are, this wasn't really a competition, but I, quote unquote, entered this competition to get a picture you drew in the newspaper.
Oh, cool.
And mine was one of the ones selected. And I wonder if my parents still have the copy of this newspaper. It was a picture.
I would love to see it.
I have no idea why I drew this picture. It was a picture of a mouse standing on its hind legs in front of a berry bush.
Oh.
But not like, he wasn't trying to get a berry. He was just standing there like, hey guys.
That sounds like a very quaint picture. Very cottagecore.
Yeah, little cottagecore Katie and her human like mouse. I don't know. It wasn't a mouse. It was more like a rat. It definitely looked more like a rat because it had like a big old body.
Fucking funny.
but like, but I was intending to draw a mouse, but it looked like a rat. Yeah.
That's cool.
And then I won no, I didn't. Chloe remembers this. I was just talking to her about this trauma recently. Well, it wasn't trauma because of Chloe. It was trauma because of someone who will not be named. We hate him. So I came in third place in a writing competition in, I think, 4th or 5th grade. And Chloe got second. And someone that I hated deeply when I was young got first. And I carried that with me all throughout grad school when I went for writing just to prove I was better.
Revenge. Sweet revenge.
Yes, I don't still write about this in my journal. I've moved on.
Completely.
Yeah, I fucking hated that.
Catherine's shoving piles of paper underneath her desk. Don't read
that
them.
That was nepotism or something. I was a way better writer than him. He fucking sucked. I hate that guy.
No, I hate that.
So today we're talking about dreaming and how some people in 5th grade can squash your dreams because they pretend to be better than you at everything. It's fine. We're all fine. I'm trying to like stall and finish my ice cream. Do you have any updates? I kind of just hijacked this whole... You gave us the ice cream update.
I was trying to think about things to update you on. Tom bought duck eggs at the store today, so now we're going to eat duck eggs, I guess.
I've never
Not a whole lot's happened, man.
That's cool. I've never had a duck egg, I don't think.
Couldn't tell you how they're different. No idea. So that concludes the thrilling saga of my egg consumption. I'm now prepared to talk about dreams and nightmares.
Well, lucky for you, I have finished my very delicious ice cream, and I can't wait to rate it because it's going to be a high rating. So let's jump in. Okay.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
I'm very excited to talk about dreams this month because I know there's, just to clarify for our listeners, we're not going to be sitting here talking about our dreams, but the concepts of dreams and stories around dreaming and stuff. But on that note, if you have any dreams that you want to tell us about, please send them to us. I do have a dream that I will talk about at the end of this. It's a short one, but I'm happy we got it. But I am not one of those people. There's like that cliche where people are like, oh, no one cares about your dreams. It's one of those things that the cliche is only you care about your dream. It's like when people try showing you a million pictures from your vacation and it's like the same beach picture like 20 times. I do not feel that way about dreams. I love when people tell me their dreams. So yeah, send us your dreams. Anyway. So today, as kind of a nice little intro into this whole topic, we will be talking about the actual science of dreaming and just the history of dreams throughout general culture. It's going to be very high level because trying to fit this into under an hour and we're already like halfway through an hour. So I'll jump right in. Okay. So the science of dreaming is a subfield of psychology, and it's called oneirology. I Googled the pronunciation because I had never heard that before, and some things said oneirology and some things said oneirology. I don't know. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. So if you're
I'm just hearing onionology.
Onionology. Yeah, I know. That's what it reminds me of too. If you're an onionologist, please email us at icecreamyscreampod@gmail.com and tell us, how do you pronounce that word? I'm going to be saying oneirology and now thinking of onions the whole time. So the term was first referenced in the early 19th century by a social scientist and physician from France. So maybe it's got a French root word. I don't know. I'm not an oneirologist, so I'm just going to move on from that. The purpose of the science of dreaming, oneirology, is to find correlations between dreaming and the physiological functions of the brain. So it's very different from what I would say the average person kind of experiences when they think about or talk about dreams. That's usually got more of a focus on dream interpretation. And that's not what oneirology is about at all. The comparison I would make is dream interpretation is like, I had a dream about a tornado because I've been like really stressed and there's a lot going on. Oneirology aims to identify like, okay, what part of the brain created this tornado and like what physiological process made that happen from a brain standpoint, not like a
that's so
thought
interesting
process. Yeah. So it's kind of, there's a lot of overlap between psychology and actual neurology in neurology. Like every time, I don't want to say every time, but there were a couple times when I Googled oneirology, Google would say, did you mean neurology? Because like, I mean, I'm assuming it's more because they're spelled similarly, but like that's just kind of a little anecdote to say there is a lot of overlap. The definition of dreaming within the field of oneirology has four main components. So the things that need to be happening in order for it to be considered scientifically a dream is one, a form of thinking that occurs under minimal brain direction, external stimuli are blocked, and the part of the brain that recognizes itself shuts down. So basically, this is not an active thought process. This is your brain is at rest and thoughts are happening. Number two, a form of experience that we believed we experienced through our senses. Three, something memorable. And four, it has to have some interpretation of experience by the self. So that's a lot. Like, I don't fully understand what all of that means, if I'm being honest. But basically, that's
I was nodding
just
along, like yes,
yes, oh, yes, and some interpretation of the self.
What I was going to say.
Yes, absolutely. That's how I describe my dreams. But basically, these are just the markers of like, when someone's part of a sleep study or whatever, and they're awake and there are parts of the brain charging and activating and stuff. We know those are not dreams, because they have, we're looking at the first marker. Okay, there is brain direction going on. So therefore this cannot be a dream. This is just the markers that the scientists follow when they are studying what is a dream and what is like a physiological function of the brain. So dreams predominantly occur within the REM stage of sleep. And brain scans have shown that the heaviest activity while dreaming occurs within the limbic system, specifically the amygdala during this stage. I'm not a brain expert, so I don't know what all of that means, but what the internet told me is the limbic system is the part of the brain that supports emotion, behavior, long-term memory, and our sense of smell, which I think is an interesting combination. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the amygdala exists within the limbic system. When they say it occurs in the limbic system and specifically amygdala, I think it's like a higher concentration occurs within the amygdala. But the amygdala specifically is in charge of emotional processing, our ability to learn, and social cognition. It also regulates our appetite, reward processing, and stress levels, which again, I just like, brains are so weird. I just think that's such a unique combination of things that are, it doesn't mean that they're all specifically related. It just means like, the brain's doing a lot. So there's going to be a lot of things jam-packed, but it's cool that like, I don't know, like emotional eating makes a lot more sense to me now, like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Like things like that. And then the sense of smell is interesting to me, especially when we're talking about dreaming. Because have you ever had that where you're having a dream and you swear you can smell something in your dream, but it's not really there? Have you ever had that?
I'm sure I have had that experience. I'm trying to think of like a specific one and I can't.
Mine, the only reason this is like, that's like a hard thing to point to. Like you dream every night, you don't always remember them. But it happened to me recently where I was dreaming and I could smell my grandma. And I don't know what the dream was, but I just woke up remembering the smell of her house. But there's nothing that would in my bedroom that would replicate that smell. You know what I mean? So it had to have just been me like remembering it.
The brain is wild.
But like, yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, on that note, there is kind of a debate slash people can't really fully agree within the field of oneirology about what the purpose of dreaming is. The most popular slash kind of currently agreed upon theory that they think is most likely is memory consolidation. It's kind of thought to be a process that allows our brains to hold on to memories and basically transition them from short term to long term and like organize them where they need to go. Like, this is going to be like a core memory, this is going to be, blah blah blah. Because we're so busy using our brains during the day that it doesn't have time to like flip through the files and get everything organized. So scientists think that it is possible that us dreaming is just us going through everything that has happened to us and like putting it basically where it needs to go.
Okay.
Other theories include pretty much kind of everything that we already mentioned, and just like the parts of the brain that dreams exist in. Scientists think that it could be a way for humans to test out their emotional process and like learn how we feel about things and just generally working through our emotions and processing through them. They believe it could be a source of creativity, problem solving. And one that I thought was super interesting is just exercising the brain. You're using your brain all throughout the day, and when you're not using it, your brain kind of has the chance to like stretch a little bit, and like go through this process of like, okay, I'm not being used. Where are the parts of me that need like strengthening or whatever? That was
It's
kind of
like
the way it
kicking
was sort
its
of
feet up
described.
after a long day and going for a
Kind of,
little
yeah.
jog or doing some yoga or
Yeah,
something.
just like a little like decompress. Yeah, I was thinking of it like a yoga, like that type of workout. Like, I've got, compression here, like let me just stretch it out. And again, while you're sleeping, your lungs are still breathing, your heart's still pumping, you're like everything's still working, but the brain doesn't have much thinking to do, but it's still going to be thinking because that's what brains do. Like your body's still functioning while you sleep. It's just in kind of a recovery mode, but that could be, again, one theory is that could be a space for your brain to kind of focus on its own self instead of worrying about every other part of your body, like
Good for my
while you're awake.
brain. It's
Yeah.
fucking self-care, man. Yeah.
Right? Brain self-care, sleeping.
Yeah.
Sleeping is so important. Like, beyond just dreaming, so much happens to your body while you're sleeping that you don't even really realize. And like, this is kind of one of those things. Like, dreaming is thought to be something that kind of helps those processes along, essentially.
I like that.
Yeah, me too. I thought that was like, I'm kind of like, ooh, I vote for that one. Like, that's my theory.
Yeah, me
Like,
too.
and it could,
That
it
one.
could be
I'm gonna
all
back
of
that
these
one.
things. Yeah, like the brain doesn't just do one thing at once. Like there could be many reasons for dreams, which we'll get into deeper later. But that's my personal favorite one. I love the idea of my brain exercising without being like, it's not like a math problem that's like hurting me emotionally. It's like, a fun little dream that I can enjoy when I wake up.
Yeah. Like doing some cartwheels.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's what I was imagining, chasing butterflies with a butterfly net.
Oh,
Like running around and like yeah.
Oh, I love
Partially
that.
because I dream of doing that quite a bit. It's not like a recurring dream, but that is a common
So
theme in my
cute.
dreams, is like butterfly chasing. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, you're enchanting. You're an enchanting woman.
Some of my dreams are not so enchanting. We should bring up some of our dreams later in one of these episodes.
We should. We should.
I have a few that I think are fun and not so fun, but we'll see if we have time. So, one of the things that I thought was interesting, they've kind of categorized the different types of dreams that they've noticed are recurring patterns for people. One of them, I don't know exactly how to pronounce this, sorry, illusory dreaming. It's a type of dream that contains impossible or like super bizarre imagery or situations, it's thought to be caused by memory circuits basically just going haywire and like mixing up information to create something strange. For example, like just I literally like pull this out of my hat. If you dream about a talking dog or like your hamburger starts singing or something, it's like these two things exist. Like dogs really exist and singing really exists and hamburgers really exist, but that's not a real thing in real life. That would be an illusory dream, which I used to have a lot of, but not so much anymore.
I was just thinking that. Like, I feel like I had a lot more of those when I was a kid.
When you're young. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yes. And that could be explained by like, you know, kids are learning so freaking much every single day. Like it makes sense that their brain would be going haywire trying to organize everything and figure everything out. Another one is interobject dreaming, and that also I think is similar. I used to have these a lot when I was younger and still sometimes to this day, but not quite as much. It's when your brain combines two things to create a whole new thing. So like, you know, you might dream that your high school principal is there, but it's actually a combination of like your neighbor and your boyfriend. But like in your brain, you know that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's this person's
I have
not
those
real
all the time.
Yes, yeah, this person isn't real, but it is in the dream, kind of, and like you know who they're supposed to be in the dream.
I
or
get
it
that
could
all
also
the time.
just be like, you know, this chair and desk combined it to make like a new, I don't know what a chair and a desk would combine to make. It really feels like that would still be a very similar object. But you know, like, yeah, like a glass with table legs or you know, something like that, where it's
but
like,
in the dream you just don't question it because it's like, this is all normal. I get it, you know?
Right. But it is not an object or thing that exists. And then the other one is just authentic dreaming, which is a dream that occurs within the realm of reality. So, like, you dream that you forgot to study for a test and you've got a pop quiz that day. Like, just a very normal, like, everything's. Those are the dreams that people wake up and don't know they were dreaming for a second. Just very, like, real world things. There's a lot of different sleep disorders / just disorders in general that can affect dreaming. So basically, the way a dream disorder is categorized is kind of split into two. There's disorders that you can be diagnosed with that will affect the dreams you have, but then there's also like your dreaming is strange because you have specifically a dream disorder. So, for example,
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yes, it is. So, an example of the first one would be like post-traumatic stress disorder is a very big common example. That is obviously going to affect the way you dream, but that's a diagnosis that you get in your waking life. Like that is a thing that, you know, is causing the dreams to be disrupted. Schizophrenia is another big one that typically causes a lot of illusory dreams in people, like to an abnormal extent and in a way where they are unclear whether it is an illusory dream or an authentic dream because they're in their waking life, they struggle with kind of that same experience. So again, it would make sense that it would affect their dreams. On the flip side, there are disorders that are specific to sleeping. And some of these I'm sure you've heard of. The one that I had never heard of is nightmare disorder. Have you ever heard of that?
Sounds like a nightmare.
So, this, I literally, like, when I was reading about this, I was like, wait, I think I have that. But I don't, but like reading further into it, I don't think I do. But it's basically a pattern of extremely vivid and frightening dreams that can lead to anxiety and depression in people. And it's basically just like,
it's awful.
Yeah, doesn't that sound terrifying? It's like,
yeah,
every single night. The types of nightmares and the amount of nightmares and the duration of your nightmares don't match your waking life. You know, it's normal to have a nightmare. It's normal to be stressed or like see something scary or experience something traumatic and have a nightmare about it. But if you're just walking around, everything's fine, and you're constantly having very terrifying realistic, graphic, horrifying nightmares every single night, all night long. That is abnormal. I thought I had, like, when I was reading, it was very much one of those, like, WebMD, like, oh my God, I have a headache, therefore I'm dying situations for me, because every single night when I lay down to sleep, I get, like, a scary image, like, every single night, like, every night. But it's not a dream. It's like I close my eyes and I'm like, ugh! I'm like afraid of what's behind my eyelids for a second. And then I'm like, oh wait, it's just like my sleep demons. And then I move on with my life and fall asleep. But like,
hey, sleep demons.
Yeah, that I think is just like, I don't know what that is. I'll talk to a therapist about that someday. But it's not a nightmare disorder. Upon further investigation, I'm probably mostly fine. So, and these other two, I'm sure you've heard of. One is night terrors. It's a specific episodes that cause people to wake suddenly in the middle of the night in an extreme state of like confusion and disorientation and just extreme panic. And they don't always necessarily remember what it is that frightened them. So they wake up from this nightmare or something and they're just like, ah! And now they're awake and just like panicked. One of the first times I ever babysat, I'm sitting in the living room. I'm probably not one of the first times I ever babysat, but one of the first times I ever babysat this particular child. Sitting in the living room downstairs, watching my TV, eating my snack, and all of a sudden I hear this absolute tragic, violent, blood-curdling scream coming from his room. And it was like pained. Like I literally thought that, I don't know, I like jumped up from the couch and flew upstairs. I was probably only like 13, 14 at the time. I bust into the door and this little boy, I'm not going to say his name, but this little boy was probably only like 3 or 4 at the time. He's standing like against the wall, like heaving and staring up into the corner of the ceiling, and like I've got chills. I'm like screaming and like cowering and shaking and like freaking out, and I'm like a child myself. I literally am like, what's happening? I'm like looking over into the corner like, who's here? Like, what's happening? Because I didn't know about night terrors. I didn't know that was a thing. I had never heard of this before ever. His parents didn't tell me anything. I don't know if it had ever even happened to him, because that's around the age when night terrors typically start in children. It usually starts around 3 or 4 years old, and that's how old he was. So like I don't know if they even knew he had him at the time. So I'm sitting there like trying to comfort him, but also like I've always believed in like ghosts and paranormal and like stuff like that. So I'm sitting there, little like 13-year-old me, like, what demon is in this house right now? Like freaking out. So we're both just sitting there freaking out together. And I didn't like, when you're in that state, you are truly inconsolable because you don't know what's happening. Like he didn't know that I was safe. You know what I mean? So he was like, not in this reality, even though he was awake. And I just like, I did not know what to do. I just kind of sat there and I like tried to like, you know, hug him and like be like, it's okay. But he was like cowering. And finally, like I ran back outside of the room just to like give him space. And I like, whatever, grabbed him water, grabbed him a little snack. And by the time I came up, he had like realized where he was and everything. And like, it like makes me so like, it's funny because I'm just imagining like me, this little child myself, like trying to figure out what to do. So I literally come back with like my snack and my water that I was drinking because I was like, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
But just like, it like breaks my heart because the look on his face when I came in the second time, he was like, you could tell that, okay, he has now come to and he feels like safe. You know what I mean? And
that poor kid.
It was so sad. It was so sad. Like, I will never forget that as long as I have a few creepy babysitting stories, but that was the first one that like really scared me because I didn't know. Like, and also the corner in which he was looking, it was right next to the window and right by his bed. So I was like, oh my God, is someone in here? Like, I didn't know. You know what I mean? So That's my little anecdote about how terrifying night terrors can be.
That is fucking
awful.
Terrifying. I also didn't know that they usually start around that age. Like,
they start very young, but they also end very young too. Yeah, I don't remember the exact age. Not always. I mean, some adults also get night terrors, especially if when combined with like a PTSD or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's very commonly associated. But in general, I also think it's more common in boys. I don't know for a fact or like how big the difference is, but I do think I remember reading that. Okay. I know Phil used to have them, and his nephew has them. Yeah, really? I don't know if it's genetic or not, but yeah.
Oh. Yeah. For Berkeley.
I know. Yeah, and I don't know if it's genetic. Maybe it is. It would make sense because if Phil had them and now his nephew has them. But I don't think Adam ever had them. I don't know.
Yeah. I never have. I don't think Maddie ever did. I don't think.
I would like scream for my mom in the middle of the night, but that was just to this day afraid of the dark. So that was like all that wasn't a night terror. Yeah. Sorry, Mom. Also, sorry, Adam, because my bedroom was next to it. This is such an aside, but it's still related. I was too afraid to get out of bed and go to my mom's room. So instead of getting up and going to her room, I would just yell, "Mom, Mom, Mom," like all night. And eventually you'd hear Adam go, "Mom, Katie needs you." She'd just like drag her butt out of bed, like, God, I just need to sleep. I have work in like 3 hours. Anyway, so another sleep disorder. Excuse me. The third big one that has to do with dreaming is sleep paralysis. I think sleep paralysis and night terrors often get confused, but they can be related. A lot of people wake up in a state of sleep paralysis, but also can experience like night terrors on top of it. Specifically, sleep paralysis is when people wake up and they are unable to move their limbs for an amount of time after waking up. It can last anywhere from just a few seconds to several minutes. And it's usually it usually happens in kind of that in-between state. So like as you're waking up, you're kind of like in and out, you're still in kind of that sleep fog. And oftentimes, this is kind of where the night terror situation comes in. People can still be dreaming when they're in this state. So they can sometimes see, hear, or feel or think like really terrifying things and see really terrifying images. Scientists believe that this is just kind of like a slip of a dream, like, you know, dreaming happens while you're asleep, but if your body is in kind of an in-between state, you could be seeing your bedroom in real life, but the images from your dream or night terror kind of slip out and also are still there because you haven't fully woken yet. So that's a scientific explanation, but not everybody fully believes that that is actually what's happening.
Okay.
Some people, many people, believe that these images or experiences that people have while in a state of sleep paralysis may actually be paranormal, spiritual, or even demonic. Dun, dun, dun. So, here's where we move into chapter 2. This is the part I really want to talk about because science isn't real. Just kidding. Okay. So, this is the modern science, and this is everything that we know now about dreaming and, you know, sleep disorders and everything like that. But throughout all of history, including still now, across countless cultures, people have always believed that dreaming is a bridge between the spiritual realm, and dreams may potentially be messages from gods, ancestors, spirits, etc. People also believe that if you are left unguarded, sometimes dark things can slip through, and that's where like nightmares and sleep paralysis and night terrors and stuff may come from. So just one example of that is in Germanic and Slavic folklore. There is a spirit called a mare, which is an entity that people believe causes nightmares by walking on your chest while you sleep. which very much mimics the feeling that people get when they are in a state of sleep paralysis. Like, people believe that the reason you can't move is because there is this demonic entity sitting on your chest, making it impossible for you to move. Blech. But stories about, I know, right? Like, just the thought of, well, and part of the reason I get the heebie-jeebs from that is because that's what cinnamon does to me. Like, the number of times I wake up with the feeling of something crawling on my chest is probably about 90% of the time, but it's just cinnamon. So I'm like, but also she's fucking talking to those demons in the crawl space.
I was just about to say, like, she's buddies with demons,
maybe she's one of them. I don't know.
Yeah. She's a very sweet demon if she is one. Well, she's cute.
I'll tell her that you think that because you're the one. You and Coco. Coco's obsessed with her. Yeah. So, yeah, stories about spirits coming through in our dreams have existed all throughout recorded history. The earliest account of any dream that was ever recorded is from Mesopotamia, which they're the ones who invented writing. So, like, literally, again, throughout all of recorded history. It recounts a dream from the Sumerian king Dumuzi of Uruk, I believe is how you pronounce it. And it happened around 2500 BC. The record that we have of it includes a dream interpretation written by his sister Geshtin Anna. Again, I'm doing my best with these pronunciations. So she basically, her dream interpretation, she told him that shit was going to hit the fan if he didn't hide away for a certain amount of time. And this dream led to a Mesopotamian myth in which Dumuzi would hide away in the underworld for 6 months out of the year so that people would have a healthy harvest. So it was basically a harvest ritual.
Okay.
Yeah, this led to specific planting and harvesting methods that they thought would prevent anything bad from happening. And they basically kind of lived this way of life as a way to protect themselves from the demons that they believed were coming through to Dumuzi in this dream. This is all based on his sister's dream interpretation from this one specific night.
Okay.
So yeah, I thought this was a super interesting story. So I wanted to go through and find, like, okay, what other cultures believe in, spirits coming through in dreams, and like what type of folklore is there. But I couldn't do that because when I was looking, it's literally every single culture across the entire world throughout all of time has some version of, like, a story that someone came through in a dream or something happened in a dream, a message was sent or a warning or a ritual came out of a dream. Like, every single culture has this. Everyone, not every person within every culture, but every culture has, like, a piece of folklore or, a story on which they base most things. Many of those things came from a dream. When I was looking into this, I don't remember the term you used, but it reminded me of when you were talking about all the different cultures across the world having some version of, like, a vampire despite not communicating with each other. I don't remember the term that you used, but it's kind of similar to that.
I can't remember it.
I know, it was good. I Googled it and nothing was good. I was like, no, that's not it. It's kind of like that, but not. It's a good word, though. Well, if we find it, we'll add it.
It's a $5 word.
Yeah. But that's kind of what it reminded me of, because so many of these stories are similar. And even if the stories aren't similar, the concept is all about, ancestors coming through, gods or goddesses coming through, just someone coming through to talk to you. It was all very similar. Some people credit this to our collective unconscious. It's a theory made famous by Carl Jung, that basically archetypal themes and stories are shared by every human, regardless of culture. Like, it is believed that we have an innate need or desire or tendency to explain things, but one step further, just explain them a certain way. So, we know that people assign stories and metaphors and theories to things, but there is a thought that perhaps it goes deeper than that, and we all, like, deep down want the same thing and therefore like create very similar myths and stuff like that. Other people just say, no, we're really talking to spirits and demons, and it just is what it is. One article that I read in Psychology Today made the comparison between dreams and near-death experiences. Yeah, that was my exact face. I thought it was super interesting. So to clarify, within the purposes of this discussion, a near-death experience is not like you're about to jaywalk, but you see a car coming at the last second, get out of the way. It's literally like you flatlined, were gone for an amount of time, and then you were revived, essentially. So like you were on your way toward the light, but then you came back. There are many accounts of people who have had these near-death experiences describing a space that is very dreamlike. And the similarities that were being made is the fact that everyday language can't fully encapsulate everything that you experienced in your dream. How many times have you been trying to describe a dream and it's like, oh, it was this, but not really, like, blah, blah, like you like don't know what to say. Every time I
dream, yeah,
right, because it's kind of like you're in this different world. So that was the comparison being made, because people who have had near-death experiences not only describe it that same way, but many of them have very similar experiences while they are out. Like they have very similar dreams about very similar places. So this has led people to wonder, is this just our brains do something very similar when you have a near-death experience, or are they like going somewhere? You know what I mean? Like, are they in this like dimension where our language doesn't match what's happening there, and that's why it's hard to describe? That's a theory that's like
fucking wild.
Is that wild? But that's the comparison that they were making. Though. Like maybe that is also where your brain goes when you dream, you know, like who knows where the mechanics of your amygdala take you, you know?
Dude, I'm like already so excited to go to sleep tonight so I can try and have a dream.
I know, I hope. Yeah. You know what's so funny? I had a dream about the podcast last night.
What
and I just
dream?
Remembered it in this moment. I had a dream that I reached out to someone asking for one of their dreams. And they were like, nah. And I was like, all right, dope. That was it. That was it. That was the dream.
That was the other dimension that we're talking about right there. Yeah. That would never happen in this world.
Yeah, we're not so popular in that dimension.
We'll break in. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, for real. So yeah, I found this very interesting because this experience that people have during near-death experiences is very common. Like this is not like a once in a life, like there is a person who has experienced this. Like it is a repeated, you know, people have these experiences. So again, is that a thing we need to study about the brain? Like maybe the brain's doing something, or like is this a spiritual situation? On that note though, there are a lot of types of dreams that people have had throughout history and still have to this day that aren't really easily explained by science. I say easily because I am going to try to explain it based on everything that I found. But one of them is prophetic dreams, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's just where someone has a dream about something and then it later happens. That is particularly spooky when multiple people have similar prophetic dreams. On that note, another form of like kind of quote unquote inexplainable dream is when people have the same dream at the same time. A lot of people consider that like we met up in this like dream space or whatever. And then some people, one that I find so interesting, and there is so much information on it, but like it still feels so woo-woo and like strange and bizarre, is when people believe that they have dreams about a past life. There have been many accounts of people having a dream where they are a person that they are like unaware of, they have no knowledge of, but then they do some research and they find information about who they were dreaming about, and this person really lived a life and they knew things in this dream that they couldn't possibly have known. And then again, like they later research it and find out this was real, this really happened. One explanation that I could find to explain all of these is simply intuition. Intuition is not a magical thing. Everyone is born with intuition. It's a survival mechanism. What is the definition? I have it written down. It's the ability to understand something immediately without active conscious reasoning. So it's an innate thought process. It's something that, example, you see like a toddler running full speed toward a coffee table corner. You do not have to sit and think step by step, I need to put my hand out and cover that corner or stop that baby, you know?
You just do it. Yeah.
You see that all that moms will be like mid conversation and they just like, you know, that's mother's intuition. It's just like, you know, to do that. That's like a logic ingrained in your body to do. In order to experience intuitive thinking, you need to not overthink or overanalyze, which like right off the bat, like we all do that. Whether like
I was just thinking that.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
Whether
I can't do that.
There it is. All right. Whether you think you're anxious or not, or overthinking or not, like everyone analyzes and thinks about things on a day-to-day basis. So, you know, when people know something without understanding why they know it, they often can overthink it, and that overshadows the process of what is intuition. You know, I think that that's what can make these prophetic dreams or crazy dreams kind of stand out and seem very out of the ordinary or paranormal or whatever you might think, because there could be clues throughout the day that will lead, you know, two people to having the same dream at the same time, but you just don't notice them until you're asleep. And then that's when you're like processing the things that you saw that day, but we're too busy in our like very loud, very chaotic waking worlds to notice, you know? And then when that comes through in a dream, you're like, oh my God, I knew this in my dream. It's like, well, you also probably knew it in the daytime too. You were just too busy at work to like notice.
Yeah.
I will say none of this means that I don't believe in psychics, because I totally do. I totally do. I just think that it's interesting that like a big piece of dreaming is like what we experience in our waking lives. And that's just translated in our like subconscious in a way that we're not necessarily used to. And there still are so many pieces of dreaming that people don't know, that there's like almost too many gaps to be left to fill in on kind of our own. It kind of leads to the question of like, is this paranormal? Is this a whole other spiritual plane that you're like journeying on? Or did you just miss something big in your waking life and now your brain has space to go through that file and like, here we are, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it can be both. I think that, I mean, we've said this almost every episode at this point, like two things can be true at once, right?
Yeah.
I definitely think that there is a scientific explanation for like what our brains are doing and why. That's not even an opinion. Like that is a true thing that exists in this world. But I also think that just because you understand how something happens, it doesn't mean that there can't be more to it than that. Like we know how our brains work. We don't always know why we think the things we think. And even if there is already an explanation, doesn't mean it's the only explanation. So yeah, that's mostly what I have. Basically, what I'm getting at is dreams are science, and also it's probably demons in your head just waiting to crawl out onto your chest when you're asleep. your brain just shows that on scans. That's what I believe.
I am so fascinated with the idea of it being like the way our brain filters information to understand it and catalog it. Yeah, that's fascinating. Because sometimes I dream something. Like, yeah, I would love to sit my brain down sometime and be like, okay, so when you made me dream that, what part of my fucking day did you connect that to? Because it makes no sense, right. You know? But I also, like, that's the one I'm most drawn to. That's the one that makes the most sense in my head. I do love the brain exercising itself one.
Yeah. Those are my two favorite also. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the thought of
Yeah.
like some little nerd in my brain like flipping through file folders all
Yeah.
night long.
With
It's
his
so
little
fun.
glasses, and he has a little tie on.
Yeah, of course, always a tie.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so interesting.
Yeah, and it's interesting what our brains choose to pick, like,
yeah,
for our dreams. Do you remember? Okay, this is another thing I just thought of. Every time I'm stressed about something very specific, I have a dream that I am in a very dirty bathroom.
Oh, that sounds awful.
I've experienced that for years and years and years. And when Phil and I came to visit you in London, I had to go to the bathroom, and I went into the public restroom at the Tower of London.
I thought you were going to say it was my bathroom, and I was like, oh my God, it's so embarrassing.
It was the fucking bathroom, the public restroom at the Tower of London that I visited when I was like 17 years old.
That's what you've been dreaming of this whole time?
That's the bathroom. Yeah.
Oh my God. I totally don't remember that. I
don't know if I said anything because I was like, I don't know how to explain that. I've been dreaming of this bathroom for the last 15, well, I don't know how many years ago that would have been. However, over a decade. Yeah. I just, every time I'm stressed, I dream of the Tower of London public restroom.
Were you stressed when you were there when you were 17? Did your brain make that connection because of something that happened? Okay.
Oh, yes. I was a mess when I went there. Yeah.
Whenever I'm stressed.
I didn't even make that connection. That's a great question.
Whenever I'm stressed, I get the teeth falling out dream.
Oh, I used to have that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, my teeth fall out. It's the worst.
I also used to get, I always had dreams, and still sometimes do. I would dream that I had like a skin issue. Ooh. And I had a recurring dream for like while I was in college that I had like a breakout of warts, but the warts were Christmas lights. Yeah, it was kind of cute, but not cute. It was stressful, but
you know, that actually triggered a memory. I had a dream. Oh God, even just thinking about it. Blech. I had a dream like 3 months ago, maybe, where it was just a normal day, and I was sitting on my couch, and I looked down at my hand, and there was a flower growing out of my hand, like a little one.
Oh my God, I had that dream recently.
Did you pluck it out?
No, I left it.
Oh, I didn't.
Wait, that's so weird.
Felt weird. That is weird. Oh.
We were just talking about having like, that's like one of the...
Yeah.
One of the, like, having
which is funny because when you were talking about that, I was like, I would love to have the same dream as Kathryn someday.
Oh, I don't remember when I had it.
Huh.
But I remember feeling like my hand was tickling, and like it felt like weird. And I looked down, and there was a little flower growing out of my palm.
And I don't know about you, my reaction was not like, oh, that's cute. My reaction was, oh my God, there's a fucking flower growing out of my hand.
I wasn't panicked, but I was like, what the fuck?
I was freaked out. I was so
confused.
Freaked out.
Yeah. Oh, that's so, I love that that's like
that's
our
funny.
joint dream. Yeah.
I know.
Cool.
That was really fascinating. Thank you, Kathryn.
Yeah. You're welcome. I do want to share this dream that we were sent. I was going to keep this a secret, but I will say it's from my brother. And I mentioned that because I remember him telling me about this years ago. And it was just fun because like I was like, oh yeah, I knew about that. Anyway, so we were just talking about recurring themes and dreams and stuff, and this is what this one is. It's very short. He says, I used to have a recurring dream as a child where I was in a house with a witch. The house had an upstairs like balcony loft area, and I was standing downstairs in the vaulted living room looking up at the balcony, and it was dark. It was completely dark and storming, so I couldn't really see anything, but anytime lightning would strike, I could see the witch dashing at super speed all over the house.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah. So
fuck that.
Doesn't it? That's like horror movie like shot, and it's worth noting. He'll probably be annoyed at me for mentioning this, but it's worth noting that when he was little, he was deathly afraid of the witch from Snow White. So, like after the queen, after she turns into like the old lady.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
like
I think
the hooded, like the particularly.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, like So, like, that actually kind of, I wonder if that fear was, like, in his psyche when he was little, because the scene that really scared him when he was little was when she's chasing her through whatever and she falls off the cliff, but it's storming during that scene in Snow White. So I wonder if there was something in his brain that was like, there's something very scary about rain and witches. I don't know. I'm trying to like
Shit's
interpret
scary.
this dream for him.
Gosh. No, that would freak me the fuck out. I
Isn't
wouldn't
that
like
spooky?
that either.
Like pitch black, and just every time there is a touch of light, you see
I don't like
evil
that.
witch like slithering, and not even slithering, but like sneaking around at top speed. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night and sweet dreams. Is that our new closing?
Good night and sweet dreams. It can be for this month.
Wait, oh my god, that's so cute. We should make it our closing.
Let's do it.
I don't have anything else, do you?
I guess, yeah.
Remember to check our socials for the announcement. Okay, I'm trying to think out. Until next time, Little Spoons, good night.
And sweet dreams.